Chiefs Kingdom. All chiefed up back at you with a bonus live. We had to get on here and talk about it. Frank Clark has signed with our rival, the Denver Broncos. Steve, what do you think about it?
He's a donkey now. But yeah, before we get started on this whole thing, make sure if you're new here, hit that sub button, hit that like button. All you guys in the chat, hit that like button. That way this can get out to some more people. And tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time, we're going to be on Cole's channel over on How About Those Chiefs on a live stream. So we're probably only going to be on here for about 30 minutes or so. Just doing a quick update on the Frank Clark thing, Mike. But yeah, it sucks. It does suck.
There it is, Steve. Oh, God.
I don't hate it. 100% hate it just because I think Frank Clark, that was probably the only option he had. Let's be real here. If he went to the Donkeys, that was the only team that was offering him a decent contract. So, I mean, he had to do what he had to do. And I think that you see this a lot if you go back into the Chiefs' past, like when Derek Johnson left, he went to the Raiders. You see people kind of cross that over.
Jamal Charles.
Right.
To the Broncos.
Right. You'll see a lot of these guys go to a division rival because those are the ones that see value in these guys. They're like, hey, we can pick their brains. We can see what they know about the Chiefs. What can we get on the Chiefs? How can this help us? And plus, he's not a bad player to stick out there on the edge. So, I mean, I think that's where Denver was coming from with this. And I think that's why they were the only team that was really offering him anything. And I think he had to take it because the Chiefs couldn't give him that much money.
Chiefs wasn't going to do it. This is what they reported. Adam Schefter, Broncos are giving former Chiefs pass rusher Frank Clark 1 year up to $7.5 million per source. The deal includes $5.5 million guaranteed base. You guys got to remember, he's already got $7.5 basically off dead cap from us. $1 million in makeable incentives and another challenging $1 million in incentives. Broncos, Sean Payton and Clark spoke on the phone earlier this week and hit it off. Now he will have coached, or he will have played under Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, and Sean Payton, 3 standout Hall of Fame resume coaches. Steve, $5.5 million. The Chiefs couldn't offer him that. If he was coming back to here, he was going to have to take a sweetheart deal. It was going to be 1 to 2 to maybe 3 tops with some incentives. We just couldn't do it. Let's be honest. Frank Clark never really played up to his contract here in the first place. Right. He's only given you 3-4 sacks in the regular season and maybe 2 to 3 in the playoffs if you're lucky. I think Brett Veach found the time to cut ties with Frank, and it wasn't coming back. Christian Martinez, all these guys that was floating around sources about Frank coming back here. It kind of felt like it was all smoke from the beginning anyways for some clicks. I'm not going to say I'm going to discredit him totally. He probably had a good source, but we just never seen it happening. I just never seen it coming.
I think the source was just that Chris Jones was really pulling for him to come back and everything like that, but I have my own thoughts about that whole thing because if Chris Jones really wanted him back, he was the one that was going to have to restructure and get that done to free up some money. But if the Chiefs were going to pay $5.5 million for Frank Clark, granted, he can make up to $7.5 million. If they were going to pay that much, they could maybe trade something for a guy named Danielle Hunter, who's only going to cost $5.5 million this season. And
You're right. You're right.
I mean, they're open to talking trades about this guy in Minnesota, and this dude scored 87.6, I believe, in his PFF score last season. He had 12 sacks. This guy's, I think, 28 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I'm not for sure. But either way, this cat, he would be a much bigger game changer than Frank Clark. So, yeah, obviously our hearts are with the Shark because we love him. We love what he's been able to do here and accomplish with the Chiefs. And we love all the smack talk, but I mean, it's a business, man. And I think if the Chiefs were going to have to pay out that much money, it was just not going to work.
Yeah, I like testing the waters on Danielle Hunter. Let's be honest. His name's Danielle, Steve. Danielle. I'd like to get Danny in here. We've already talked about this a little bit yesterday on another live stream. $5.5 million, that's not that much. That's exactly what Frank Clark's going to make this year. Isn't that chaotic to think that you could get a guy for the same price as Frank Clark's going to cost you this year? Is that something Brett Veach now has to strongly consider? $5.5 million is not that much. And then they need some secondary help. So if you don't plan on paying L'Jarius Sneed this year, beyond this year, would it be a good trade-off to have Sneed this year or to have Danielle Hunter this year and maybe long-term deal restructure with Danielle Hunter going forward? He could possibly produce till he was 31, 32, and you're going to get him for another 3 to 4 years.
Well, let me sweeten that pot for you even more. This could be a prime trade target for the Chiefs. This is because, like Mike just said, L'Jarius Sneed's on his contract year. The Chiefs don't really like to pay those corners. And then also we have another guy in our contract year named Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And the Vikings also released Dalvin Cook today. So they have a little bit of opening in that running back room. So this could be something that could be looked at on both sides here. It just comes down to, Brett Veach likes to have those vet pass rushers. He's done that for the last few years. He's always had the Terrell Suggs, the Melvin Ingram, Carlos Dunlap. Maybe this year he takes that 1-year deal with a guy that's a little bit younger but a little more productive with Danielle Hunter. But what does he have to give up to get him, along with just paying him that much for 1 year? Is it worth it? Only if he could deal those guys away that they're not planning on signing back. If they're not planning on signing back Clyde or L'Jarius Sneed, then there's no harm, no foul. You're getting a pass rusher, and it's the same difference.
Yeah, and look, the Vikings had previously signed Danielle Hunter, and they've actually restructured his contract a little bit. Here's his contract brought up. They're actually eating $7.5 million because of the restructure, which means he's only due out of his $13.1 million. He's only due 5.5. But even next year and the year after, he's only due 11.2 and 5.6, I believe is what that says. That is astronomically low numbers for a pass rusher of his caliber. Frank Clark, as we just said, is getting 5.5 this year. So you would have Danielle Hunter for 2 years without a restructure at 5.5, and then next year at 11.2. I still think they could get something done and restructure that out a little further, probably into 2026, 2027, and that would be fine. I think Danielle Hunter now becomes somewhere the Chiefs should look. Now that Frank Clark's off the table, you need that veteran pass rusher to help these young guys, to give that presence. I don't think this is a bad idea, and I like the idea you brought up with Clyde. They were talking about maybe looking at Kareem Hunt. There's sources going around the NFL saying Kareem Hunt's lost a step. The dude's not as fast. That's why Cleveland wanted to get rid of him. That's why nobody's looked at him to this point. We know that Clyde, injuries aside, can produce. Clyde would be a good number 2 coming in there, or split 1A with Madison, and I think that's a good little thing Brett Reach can start kicking the tires on, in my opinion, Steve.
Well, like I said, it's a prime target, right? Because both sides of the fence see something that they could use, that they need, and it could work out pretty good. And Danielle Hunter, I mean, if we bring him in, he's a younger guy, and I know that he would want a new contract, probably where he's going. But the Chiefs might be able to pull that off if they could get this extension done with Chris Jones, and then they could even extend Patrick Mahomes as well. If they can free up some money for the right now, and maybe work something out with Danielle Hunter, then you have your defensive line on lock for the next how many ever years. As long as Chris Jones is locked in, you got Danielle Hunter locked in, you got all those young DBs and a good linebacker crew. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I think that along the Chris Jones front, we've been talking about Chris Jones a little bit, what he may be able to do. There was actually a report out today that said Chris Jones could get 3 years. 3 years. Let me take this off the screen here. The chat. Let's see. They want to pull off. My Lord, my chat's being frozen. 3 years, $80 million, $26.67 million per year, according to Brad Spielberger. This is a projected 3-year, $80 million. I honestly think they should probably go a little higher with Chris Jones. I think it should probably be 4 to 5 years. I think Chris Jones can. They need to make him a lifer. Let's be honest. I don't want to end up in the same situation in 2 years.
Chris Jones is 28 years old. He's going to produce at least until he's 33 in the NFL, and that's at a high level probably. You might see him start taking a step back around that 33 years of age, maybe even 32, but I don't know, man. These guys play longer these days. Chris Jones is an absolute game changer. It's somebody you want to be a lifer with the Chiefs, so why not extend it out a little bit more? I'm with you. I think they could come up with a little better deal than that. And I don't think that they should shy away from it either, because I think that he will be fully productive until at least that age.
Right. So I'm thinking more I'm thinking more Chris Jones contract extension, probably somewhere around that 27, 28 million per year, somewhere in that range. Maybe 4 or 5 years, somewhere between 100 and 110. Dude, if they was to put it up to 120 million, I wouldn't even think twice about it. I think that's right, somewhere in the ballpark. And that's more valuable. And to get anybody, I don't care if it's D-Hop, I don't care if it's to bring in Danielle Hunter and restructure it, I don't care if it's to go get Chase Young, you're going to have to restructure. You got to find money to sign them. And it all starts with Mahomes restructuring, it all starts with Chris Jones restructuring. I think that's definitely the next best thing to do. So, yeah, Jan says, bravo to Frank, we couldn't pay him what Denver did. And that's exactly it. Everybody's been talking about Frank Clark coming back to the Chiefs. Guys, we just didn't have enough to pay him. He was not going to take that $2 million sweetheart deal with us. It's obvious he thinks he's elite. I think this is Frank Clark's new path going forward, Steve. He's going to go to whichever flavor of the year signs him the next year to be that veteran edge rusher to get 2 and 3
Right.
sacks a season. And I think his long-term contracts are done. I think it's over.
Well, right. I don't think Frank had many options. Let's be honest. It had been quiet the entire free agency. Ever since that we cut him, you haven't heard anything. There were some rumors that the Raiders might take a look at him. Those subsided quickly, which it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Kind of the same difference here with Denver grabbing him. But I mean, it is what it is, man. Nobody was wanting to pay Frank Clark or give him a long contract. He just has not produced well enough to earn one of those at this moment. So I'm with you. I think he wanted to get as much money as he can while he's still a football player. So why take a sweetheart deal with Kansas City for next to nothing? He'd have to be playing for pennies. Plus, he had $7 million in dead cap. If he gets that money, then that's just more on top of it. Now he gets the 5.5, maybe up to 7.5 with incentives. So I think it was the best deal for Frank Clark. I think
Dude,
he had to make that decision.
Frank could potentially get to $15 million this year. That's insanity for a guy that produces as little as Frank Clark. Let's be honest.
Right, and I mean, I hope he does. Let's say he does. That'd be good for him because he is getting up there, and he just doesn't play at the level that he did back when he was a Seahawk. He just doesn't.
Yep. What's up, Pro Chiefer? I see you, Nate Matthews. If you guys haven't subbed already, be sure and hit that sub button. We're trying to hit 10K before the season starts, which we think we're going to demolish that, but we want to do it sooner than later. Actually, 61 people in here. If you guys don't care, hit that thumbs up.
Ball.
Let everybody know where they can come vent about Frank Clark signing with a rival. Steve, you mentioned before that seems to be something like if you don't remember, Neil Smith actually played with the Broncos and the Chiefs. And then you said Derek Johnson played with the Raiders and the Chiefs. And this is pretty common. A lot of fans take this to heart more than I think players do. I don't think rivalries exist too much with players nowadays. I think that with all the AAU circuits, all the college circuits growing up, they're around each other more. They just don't see it as that bad blood rivalry like we do. They see it as a game, as a paycheck, and they'll go anywhere that pays them, and I don't think they have any loyalty to any city. So when they say that loyalty thing, well, we've seen that was out the door with Tyreek Hill last year, and that loyalty thing just doesn't exist. That's something we all like to say that doesn't happen.
I think there's still a bit of rivalry in the sport. I do. I think that the Chiefs are always going to hate the Broncos and the Raiders. That's all there is to it. So, but I don't think that plays the biggest part. I'm with you. I think that the guys know that it's a business and these guys have to make as much money as possible before they're on the out. So, I mean, you can't really hate the guy for doing the best thing for him and his family. So, I mean, at the same time, you hate the team. You're going to hate him when he's on the field when you're playing him. But other than that, you're cheering him on and hoping everything goes well.
Yeah, I hope Frank does well in Denver. I don't want to see him do. I'm not taking away anything from Frank Clark and what he done. I liked having Frank in KC. I thought he did underperform his contract by far. If you have a set of eyeballs, you've seen that he underperformed the contract. But I think he done a lot with George Karlaftis last year. I'll give him credit for that. I think Brett Veach just seen the moment of like, look, Frank is hitting that point in his career where you just can't guarantee production out of him for the price he wants. We got to let him go. We got what we needed and move on. And that's not taking nothing away from Frank Clark. But I think in Denver, it's possible. Sean Payton is a good coach. It's possible they can turn it around. But to be honest, they're a very mid-team, and I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot. But the other team could be taking the air out of the ball. So if they decide to be up, if they're down so much, the other team's taking the air out of the ball. Frank Clark's numbers dwindle even more, Steve. So Frank Clark could actually he could make $15 million this year, or 7.5, like whatever you said, but 5.5 guaranteed, and he could probably have less than 3 sacks.
Right. Well, I just think there's more appealing options out there if they are looking to plug another pass rusher in. We already talked about Danielle Hunter. He's only going to cost the team $5.5 million this next season. Granted, you have to trade some either draft capital or a player to get him. But on top of that, there's other guys out there. They're looking to shop. They're trying to trade Chase Young out of Washington. Justin Houston's still out there if they want to rekindle that relationship and get over all that falling out they had and let him retire as a Chief and maybe have a chance at getting a ring. There's different things out there, and I just think Frank Clark was not the best option for the Chiefs. And I don't think the Chiefs were the best option for Frank Clark. So it just is what it is, man. But I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards the Danielle Hunter thing because I feel like, them needing some help with the running back room and stuff like that, and us always kind of wanting to have, that vet pass rusher. I think that's a good a good little marriage there to come up with a good trade scenario.
Right. To answer Brian's question here, he asked, what does he think Chris Jones feels about this after going to bat for him? I think Chris Jones stopped. If you notice, he did that for a few days. I'm doing this every day, and he stopped abruptly. I think he
Right.
knew the signs were there, and it wasn't happening. I think he
Well,
was
I
told
mean,
by upper management it wasn't happening. I don't.
the the thing about it is, I think Chris Jones is pretty self-aware. I think he knows that the only way that that was going to happen was if he got some kind of extension done and freed up some money, and he knew that wasn't happening anytime soon. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I saw where Chris Jones actually tweeted and said, shaking my head when they announced the news. But I mean, he doesn't have to like it, but I mean, no one does. But I mean, I think it was probably the best scenario for both sides, to be honest.
Right. Kevin says KC continues to hemorrhage talent. I don't know. Frank Clark wasn't
They
on the
continue
team.
to
We didn't lose nothing, so
they continue to gain talent.
yeah.
That's the main thing. I don't think that what little cap space they have, they didn't want to spend it on an aging guy that has underproduced for years. I think they were ready to move on from that.
Right.
So I think the Chiefs are all about getting more talented and getting younger.
Right.
So
Yeah, Chew, he will. He gets the 7.5, whatever we owed him in dead money. That's automatically, we paid it out. That's why we weren't going to sign him for nothing more. We were already in debt to this guy $7 million. They ain't doing it
he would have had to
anymore.
play for free this year.
Right, and now he gets it back. So yeah, he's going to make upwards of maybe $15 million or something. Chiefs Live said Hunter is going to want a new contract though. That's fine with me. If you sign him for 4 or 5 years and keep him till he's 31, 32, and you can maybe wait it to where you can get out of that after 3 years, I'm fine with that. The dude is on a contract right now where he's owed
Right.
$5 million, $11 million, $5 million. That's not that much.
But do the
That's
Chiefs
like $22 million for an elite pass rusher.
do the Chiefs want to get back into that same boat they were in when they had Frank Clark and be paying a pass rusher that much money? That's the question that has to be asked there. But I think they would be okay with it. They always have been.
Right. Kevin says we lost Hill, Hardman, and now Clark. Fine. We lost Hill. Who cares? We won a Super Bowl. We
Right.
lost Hardman. Some guy has to.
Hardman.
Yeah, what do we
was
got?
A very bad draft pick for
We
us.
got to replace like 30 catches, and then now Frank Clark, we got to replace like 3 sacks. It's not that big of a deal.
We can find anybody to do a bunch of jet sweeps, so I'm not too
Right.
worried about McCole Hardman.
Chucky, what's up, brother? He says, what draft pick and money would you be willing to give up to get Hunter? Keep in mind the injury history. We already floated the idea, if you're not going to pay L'Jarius Sneed, that's possible. If you're, would it be more beneficial to have L'Jarius Sneed in Kansas City this year with all these DBs, or would it be more beneficial to have Danielle Hunter come in and boost this pass rush this year? That's
Right.
probably where you want to go
they're
there
both
and then
in the
work
same
on
boat.
something with him.
They're
Yes.
both in the same boat. They're on their contract year, so it would kind of, like I said earlier, no harm, no foul. But with Dalvin Cook leaving and most likely becoming a Dolphin, I think that they might be looking to fortify their running back room as well, so Clyde could enter the mix. So
Yes.
maybe you don't even have to go as far as L'Jarius Sneed. Maybe you come up something, you give Clyde in a late round pick, and you end up with Danielle Hunter, and you still have L'Jarius Sneed on that defense with Danielle Hunter for at least 1 year. I mean, I don't know. I like the idea of it. I think that that's a very good trade target is the Vikings right now because they have the holes that we could fill.
Exactly.
And they have a guy that we could use. But yeah, just while I'm on that subject, Dalvin Cook, he did tweet. I think he put out a picture on Instagram earlier, just not too long ago. He's actually at the stadium in Miami.
Right.
So I think that might be the most likely suspect to be scooping him up.
Right. Miami's signing everybody these days. If you're
Right.
out there, if you just got fired from your job, call up Miami. They might have a spot for you on the team. They are trying
Might
to
get a
buy
job
a
there.
Super Bowl. They're trying to buy one. It wouldn't surprise me if Dalvin Cook. I've also heard Dalvin Cook being linked to the Broncos. I've heard him being linked to the Cowboys. We've heard him being linked to, who was it? Buffalo even, I think. Buffalo was a spot. I don't know. Miami has endless money. Apparently, they've got a blank checkbook that they can just write, and they've already given up on all their draft picks from now to Jesus comes back. So I don't think that Miami is selling out to win now. If they don't win in the next 2 years, they have set their franchise up to fail for the next 30. So they're
Right.
going to go back to being the Dolphins.
Tua's not the guy. He's not it. He's not going to win them a Super Bowl, and he's definitely not going to do it, 5 years from now. The older he gets, the worse he's going to get, the more injury riddled he's going to get. So, I mean, it's whatever with Miami. But as far as the Danielle Hunter thing, I think that he could be, he could be a better option than keeping L'Jarius Sneed per se. It just depends on what you value the most. Like if you're planning on, I think what makes that decision on that particular swap would be if you're planning on signing Danielle Hunter long term and you're not planning on signing L'Jarius Sneed long term. I think that would be what would give that trade some value to the Chiefs. But I think as far as Clyde goes, I think they know that they're parting ways with Clyde after this year. So I think that he might be the one they would dangle out there as bait first and see if they bite on that. And then if they don't, they might have to go with that. But I think they do want to keep L'Jarius Sneed around for his contract year here. I just have a hard time believing that they will pay him when the time comes. So, I mean, his name could be entered into the mix.
Right. And we'll talk more about this later. We're going to be on with Cole tonight. We're all going to dive into this a lot more. There's going to be so much more. But our thoughts, frankly, right now is it's Frank Clark. He was never signed here. It's not a big deal. We will dive into this way more with Cole tonight. There's going to be a lot more people watching Cole tonight. Believe me, it's going to be later. There's going to be more Chiefs Kingdom watching. He's a way bigger channel than we are. So we'll have all the thoughts on there. And but speaking of different moves and different things like that, we've actually seen the Chiefs being linked to a couple different people. Dalvin Cook was one of them at some point, Steve. Is Dalvin Cook somebody that Brett Veach would ever even think about?
No.
At this point, I don't see it either.
I don't see the value in that whatsoever. It just doesn't make sense. So I think that was like one sports writer that really, hammered that home and threw it out there a couple weeks back. But I mean, it was short-lived because it just does not make sense for the Chiefs. I think he ends up in Miami. If he don't end up in Miami, Denver's a possibility. But I also think he could maybe end up in Buffalo with his brother. So, I mean, I just don't think the Chiefs are in on that. I think the Chiefs, believe it or not, guys, I think that the Chiefs are still in on DeAndre Hopkins. I really think that he actually went and visited the Tennessee Titans yesterday, if you didn't know. He went to visit the Tennessee Titans, and I think what you're seeing there is DeAndre Hopkins giving a nudge to Brett Veach. Hey, are you going to get that extension done with Chris Jones? You're going to get that extension done with Patrick Mahomes? Are you going to free up some money? Are you going to be able to pay me a decent amount of money for me to play with the Chiefs? Nudge, nudge, hurry up, because I can go around and look at other teams. I think that's what's going on. I mean, I could be dead wrong about it, but I really do think that because Brett Veach and Andy Reid were in on DeAndre Hopkins. They tried to trade for him, and I think they're still in on him, but I think there's so much that has to be done before they can make that deal possible that he's getting a little antsy waiting around because a lot of people think he's just dragging it out, but I don't think that's it. I think he's waiting on some money to be freed up.
Right, that's true. Cole says, what do the Vikings want in exchange for Hunter? Nobody knows. They're just taking calls. Nobody knows. They may want a second-round pick. They may want a first-round pick. Who knows? If I'm the Chiefs, I don't give up draft capital if I don't have a long-term deal. Somebody asked about the money. I'd be willing to go 3 years, somewhere around $40 million. I don't think $12 to $13 million for Danielle Hunter is a bad option. I don't know if he'll sign for that, but I wouldn't be, it wouldn't be nothing like that. But other than that, man, we're only going to be on here for a few more minutes. We're only going to do a quick one because we're going to be on Cole tonight. How about those Chiefs? If you haven't followed him, get over there and subscribe to his channel. Catch us on there. We're probably going to talk about this a lot more. We don't know what Cole has in mind to talk about. I'm sure it probably will be Frank Clark, so we will touch this more. He may, who knows what we're going to talk about over there. But yeah, we'll do more than that, so be sure and get over there and do that. But we'll answer a few more questions here. A lot of people are asking, Steve, does this bother you that Frank Clark is still in our division? Like, do you see that being something that bothers the Chiefs, the players, his teammates, and you as a fan? Because to be honest, I'm used to it by now. I don't care.
No, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. Like I said, we're kind of used to it. We've seen it happen with Neil Smith. We've seen it happen with Derek Johnson. We've seen it happen with Jamal Charles. It's just a common thing, man, because of these in division teams are the ones that are going to value these guys a little bit more than everybody else because they want to poke them and prod them for a little bit of info. Anything they can squeeze out of them to maybe gain an advantage on the Chiefs, they're going to do it because the Chiefs have been whooping their ass for years now. So I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you see where who was it that signed Laquan Treadwell yesterday? Oh, the Ravens. Wasn't it the Ravens?
Nah.
Was it? Was it the Ravens?
Boring. Who even cares? That's a non-factor.
Well, I'm just trying to say that means they're probably out of D-Hop. I'm trying to determine who would be in and out of D-Hop.
Well, we already think that they're the ones that lowballed him.
Right.
That was, by all reports that I could find, that was Baltimore that tried to pay him $2 million for 1 year, and he basically pulled it out and peed on their contract.
Right.
I think Baltimore's been out. I think Buffalo's been out with the acquisition that they just had with Leonard Floyd or whoever it was they signed. Yeah, so I mean, I think they've been out. I think all signs point to Kansas City or a team that's not competitive that can pay more. So it kind of is up to D-Hop right now.
Right. Well, I'll pose the question to you that we had talked about a little bit earlier. If Brett Veach can restructure Chris Jones here soon, if he can restructure Mahomes at any point during the season to possibly to help with a contract for, say, a Danielle Hunter later on, say they was to trade L'Jarius Sneed for Danielle Hunter and maybe Clyde, they sweeten the deal with Clyde. If you could pull in Danielle Hunter, restructure Jones, and pull in D-Hop, is that bad? Would any Chief fan cry about that at the end of the day?
No, only the ones that have been very, very vocal about hating D-Hop. I think they would try to play it off for a little while, but when they laid down in bed at night, they would smile real big because they knew the Chiefs were just going to dominate next season. So I don't think anybody can be mad about it. A lot of people think the money's just not there. I mean, they haven't even signed Rashee Rice yet. So, I mean, I think they're waiting on Chris. I think it all depends on Chris Jones, and then they can extend Patrick Mahomes as well. But you'd be surprised how much money they can open up when they need to. So don't count anything out because we've seen Brett Veach do it before. He turned $177 of cap space into signing Patrick Mahomes to a $500 million deal in less than a week. So, I mean, things can get done. And he's the best at tweaking them and making it happen. So don't count anything out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think with the Chris Jones extension, though, I think if you can somehow extend him, I don't think 3 is a good number. Why? I think it doesn't relieve the cap enough. I think you're right back in this situation in 2 years. Chris Jones is just going to be 30. He's still going to want big money. You're going to be right back here again. I think 4 or 5 years is the option. If they could somehow get that pulled off and pull in D-Hop, that's a good start. But preferably, I'd rather have Danielle Hunter over D-Hop if you can make it work.
Yeah.
And like I said, even with L'Jarius Sneed, I'll take the pass rusher over that. Who's C. Chang?
Man, I mean, I understand his hurt in his heart because he showed me on the doll where the Chiefs hurt him, and I can see why he's so upset because I mean they have literally got their asses spanked ever since the iPhone 3 first came out. They have not beat the Chiefs since then. They haven't beat the Chiefs since a lot of things went on in the world, and you'd be really surprised about it. So Chang,
you know what's funny?
We're actually pray for you. We're thinking about you, but things are not going to get better anytime soon. So hang in there, buddy.
I seen all this together, and I thought it said CF Changs, and I was really
hungry.
Yeah, I realized I was probably hungry or something, but yeah, that's pretty much, I think that's going to wrap it up for now. We just wanted to get on. We wanted to do a quick little thought about this. We wanted to do a video, but we could not get the video edited and stuff. We got a lot of stuff to do. We're going to be on Cole. How about those Chiefs tonight? Be sure and get over and watch that one. That's going to be awesome. We're going to be talking about this much more. Excited to see what Cole thinks about this, to be honest.
Yeah, so this is the last one I want to hit on just because I saw it. Lewis thinks that signing D-Hop will cost Justin Ross a roster spot, and we feel quite the opposite. If D-Hop was signed to the Chiefs and their depth got that good at that position, I mean, you got a lot of good high-end receivers at that point when you're looking at DeAndre Hopkins at 1, MVS at 2, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney at 2, MVS at 3, Sky Moore at 4. You have a lot of room to play with there, baby. You don't have to keep Justin Watson around on the team just to be old Mr. Reliable. You don't have to worry about things like that. So I think the better that wide receiver room gets, the better chance that you have of Justin Ross making this roster because you have room to wiggle. You can take a boomer bust guy on your roster and see how it works out.
Yeah, I don't think Ross is going anywhere. I think Justin Ross is probably guaranteed his way on this roster because if he does not make it to the practice squad, if he gets to the practice squad, I think he's poached. I think the Chiefs know this is the year. They've hyped him up so much. So if he does not make the team, I think Brett Veach and Andy Reid know that they've just given up on him. I don't think they're gonna, they're gonna expect anything else. I think they just know that they're giving up and they're gonna let another team deal with it. But I think you're gonna see a lot of big things from Justin Ross. I really do. Do I think we're gonna get D-Hop? The chances are low. They're low, but I don't think getting D-Hop hinders development, and I don't think it hurts Justin Ross. To be honest, I just really don't.
Hey, Javier says that Frank Clark is officially a slapnuts. And then Jared, yeah, you're late, but better late than never. And if you're subbed and you're not getting notifications, make sure to hit the bell. And if that's not working for you, we'll put the link up, an invite to our Discord. If you get on our Discord and put the notifications on over there, they are solid. They're better at notifying people than YouTube actually is. So you can always do that as well. But we appreciate all you guys jumping on here and talking about this with us today. It kind of come out of nowhere, so we figured we would get on and throw our 2 cents in. But it's good to see everybody. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that sub button. If you love the Kansas City Chiefs and you want a good place to hang out and talk Chiefs football, we got a great community in our chat. We do live streams every Wednesday night, every Saturday night. It's what we're doing right now. So make sure if that's something you're interested in, hit that sub button. And if you guys can hit that like button on your way out today, that would be incredible. It'll help this video go out to a lot more Chiefs fans and everything. But Mike, let's take about 2 or 3 more questions and we'll go ahead and hop off.
Okay, for sure. Let me find something good. If you guys got anything, go ahead and throw them in, because I'm just going to go ahead and refresh this whole thing. What's up, Julie? I see you. Again, while we're waiting for some questions to come in, be sure and tune in. How about those Chiefs tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. That's KC time. We're going to be talking about this a lot more in depth. Excited to see what Cole thinks about it. But, yeah, we just wanted some initial reactions. The initial reaction is, yeah, we couldn't pay him. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Can't have everybody. Like, we can't pay everybody. Like, we'll get over it. Everybody's going to get over it. I don't know. People haven't got over Kareem Hunt yet, Steve, so.
Right. I mean, it is what it is. Chucky, what's going on, man? Good to see you. He says, any interest in Chase Young? Just curious. Yeah, I think there's some interest there. I think any kind of edge rushing talent right now, the Chiefs are interested in a little bit. Are they going to be like gung-ho on him? I don't know. I don't know what that situation is. I don't know how high they are on a guy that's been injury-riddled since he came into the league. But he does have a high ceiling. So I don't know. I think that they might, at this point, if it was me, in my opinion, I think that they're probably looking more at the Danielle Hunter situation in Minnesota if they want to go ahead and add to that defensive end.
Yeah, I agree. Last question. We'll just answer this one. I mean, does anyone want CEH back? Yeah, I think Andy Reid does. I think Andy Reid's going to use Clyde. That's all there is to it. They'll use him if he's there.
I think, like Mike said, if Clyde's healthy, Andy Reid loves Clyde. You've seen it since he came into the league. I mean, he gets a lot of work. He will be RB1A is what you're going to see this year if he's healthy and on the field. I think Pacheco gets the starting nod just because he earned that right. But I do think that you will see Clyde getting a lot of work because he's going to be on his contract year. And if he's healthy, he's going to go out there and perform. He's got to do something to get paid by somebody. So, I mean, he's going to be out there, and if he's producing, Andy's going to use him. He will ride it, and that's just how it is, man. So I think, I think everybody, most people are on board with seeing CEH get the heck out of here, but I think a lot of people know that there's one more year left.
Yep. So, okay, guys, we appreciate you guys getting on for this impromptu Frank Clark, farewell. We're going to have a bigger party over at How About Those Chiefs tonight. Look forward to seeing you there, 9 p.m. Eastern. Hit the like button on the way out.
Hit that like button. There's 84 of you here. I want to at least see 84 likes.
Hit that sub button. Turn the bell on. Hit the sub button. Turn the bell on. If you want more Chief news, thanks for tuning in. All Chiefed Up. Out. You guys have a good one. See you guys tonight.
There goes a sight from my soul.